Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Oh, I've got so much to say. I really do. I'm gonna have to reread this book because, mm, yeah, I'm pissed off. It's not Kobo's fault. It is the publisher's fault, and I blame the publisher for practically everything in the universe. Um, so this is the book I want to complain about. This is The Bungalow Mystery by Caroline King. This is the third book in the series. And I really try so hard, like, not to buy books off of Kindle. I really do try not to. Ugh, come on. This is really pissing me off. So I'm just going to sync. Now it's freezing on me. I'll restart it. Alright, so while my Kindle Colorsoft is being told that you're supposed to be a good little device and actually do it. So this one I got a couple of months ago. This was part of a lot of 10 books that I purchased from Kobo because I wanted to read my Nancy Drew books exclusively on the Kobo, because Kobo, they have a very large library of books that you can get if you're a big Nancy Drew fan. So I'm like, okay, great. So this was 99 cents. And my assumption from the cover was that it was supposed to be the 1930 something version of this book. So for people that don't know anything about Nancy Drew and about what happened, so in the 1930s, the first four original Nancy Drew books entered public domain January 1st of this year. So it meant that you could do anything with the characters as long as it was part of the those four. So like you could write a book with like Helen Corning in it, and maybe like what she's done like after the events of the Bungalow Mystery, things like that. Totally legal, you can do that. So okay, good. So I got this one, and I did not realize that this was not the 1933 version. This was the 60 some version of the book, but they slapped this cover on it to make you think it was the original Nancy Drew. Alright, so this is the version I got. So, great thing about the sample was, this is it. The original had 25 chapters, so every book that came out up to a certain point, up until they went out of business. Because I know that the publishing house that published these books went out of business. I don't know what year they went out of business. I don't know. I think they might have been bought and then absorbed into, I think, Simon and Schuster. I'm not exactly sure. If you Google this particular series, it will tell you what year the original publishing house released these books, and when Simon and Schuster, or I think it was Simon Schuster, released the books. So when they were bought, they had a large collection of like Nancy Drew books, Hardy Boys books, things like that. And they had to go in there and get what we would call sensitivity readers, though that's not what they were called back then. They were called something else. To go in and remove any type of stereotypes, racist, racist remarks, racist terminology, things that at the time they were edited to become what they would become, the iconic yellow spine books. I have the yellow one, I have the blue one. Not all of them. They had knocked it down from 25 chapters to 20 chapters. So a lot of the plot had to be redone so that it would not offend this modern audience of that time. And those books are what a lot of people in their 40s and 50s grew up with. Like, I grew up with the yellow binding books. I did not discover Nancy Drew until my mother went and bought me, and I do mean bought me, The Clue of the Whistling Bagpipes. This was the first Nancy Drew book I read. However, I didn't read it right away. It took me years before I actually read the book. And I fell in love with Nancy Drew. I loved the character, her tenacity, everything like that. What I do not appreciate is spending 99 cents for a book that's supposed to have 25 chapters with all the stuff people hate, and it turns out to be the edited version of it, just slapped with the original cover. That is absolutely disgusting. And I don't blame Kobo for it. I blame the publishing house that released it. So, I went on to Kindle. Because as everyone knows, Kindle's got the cornerstone of the ebook market. This is the actual 1933 edition of The Bungalow Mystery. And how you can tell that it is The Bungalow Mystery is that there's 25 chapters in this book. There's not 20 chapters, there's 25 chapters. And I will tell you, despite the fact that this is from Amazon, and I know everyone is disgusted with Amazon and stuff like that, and I had vowed to not buy any more books from Amazon, the fact they have the actual 1933 edition of this book, the 25 chapters that I have been looking for, I'm willing to spend the money. That's just me. I want a particular version of the book, and Amazon has it. So I'm going to reread this book, and then I will move on to the next one. But it kind of sucks that I have to go through Amazon to get the book that I really want to get my hands on. It sucks. It's stupid. It's just, ugh. One particular scene that they removed from the original was this woman of color. I believe she was guarding the bungalow from anybody trying to get in. And I believe they cut her out, and then they just, enabled Nancy to, easily get inside. I'm like, really? There was a woman there. Why did you remove the woman? Oh, I forgot. You could have just made her a white woman. Nobody would have known. But anyways, I found these books out years ago. So when I was living up in I think it was Massachusetts or no, it was Massachusetts. I was on I believe it's the second floor of the library, and they had these books. And I mean, they didn't have all the books, but they had, I think they had all of them that had been brought back. But I really want to buy the original Nancy Drew books as physical editions. I really, really do. So I'm actually going to go on Amazon and see if they have them as physical edition. And if they do, I'm going to start collecting them. I'm not saying that the yellow binding ones are bad. It's just that in the day, in this time, in this point in time, we're having authors who are dead and gone, their books being edited and being changed. I think that we need the originals like this, not edited versions wrapped up in old paper. We need the actual old paper. I mean, it's so vital, because if you go to like the Nancy Drew Museum, I think they have the original 1930 some to, I think went all the way to like the 1950s, that it had let's see here. Um, let's see. Um, so, let's see here. So, 1930 until until 1979. Okay, so yeah, so they published it. Was Grosset and Dunlap, and then from 1979 all the way to 1985 was Wanderer. Then from 1987 they did a 2-year break. There was from 1987 to 2001 you had Minstrel, and then from 2002 to 2003 you had Aladdin. So yeah, and then oh yeah, so they started editing the Nancy Drew books starting in 69, and they didn't finish until 68, and then they didn't finish it until 75. So for people that don't know, it's 1975, not, so yeah. So if you look at the back of any of the yellow binded Nancy Drew books, it's all from Grosset and Dunlap, even the new ones to the old ones. Alright, so I am going to be doing that. Because, as I said, I do want to get the original Nancy Drew books, unedited, unchanged, on everything, for my own collection, to enjoy. They're not sprayed edges, they're not all that type of stuff, they're just physical enjoyment. But the thing about it is that I think that we as buyers, we have every right to be like looking at this and go, what the heck is going on in the publishing world? Why is it that this is supposed to be the public domain version of the Bungalow Mystery, and this is totally copyrighted. This is a totally copyrighted book. This is the public domain book. So there is a difference. There is a difference. So this is public domain. I can do whatever I want with it. The characters, if I wanted to write a book that had these characters in it, I could. But this one, I can't. Because this is the edited version and it's still under copyright. Alright, anyways, enough with rambling. Like I said, I gave it 3 stars. As I said, not because I didn't like the book, but because of the fact that it was not the original 1933 edition. And I should have guessed it was not the 1933 edition because of how how she was dressed. She was not dressed as a like a gangster mole and all that. Um, Another thing that you notice in here, um, so this is going to vanish because I did finish reading it. So it does start off with let's go back to the beginning. So this is actually what chapter is this? I'm trying to find. So this one has her driving a convertible, which is not what she drives in the original one. She does not drive a convertible. She drives I forgot what she drives. So that was chapter 3. Alright. I'm trying to find it. So this table of contents is not existent. Here it is, convertible, so that's chapter 3. So we're going to go to chapter 3. So hold on. No, it was chapter 4. Sorry, chapter 4. So I want to show you the difference between the actual version and this one. Alright, so, So, I don't mean to bore you guys with this. So this is going to be the visitor. Oh no, it's just, what am I doing here? Alright, so here's the difference, okay? I'll show you the difference between the two versions. Alright. So this is how you can tell, okay? So anytime that people edit something and then later on the original version becomes available, you can tell. So chapter 3 on the one I thought was the version I was getting is called Strange Guardians. Chapter 3 on the original 1930s version is A New Friend. They're the same story, but they have been severely edited, and you can tell. That really does tick me off, because people pay money to get the version that they want to read. But anyways, so yeah, so a little bit of a when we talk about when they change things and all that stuff. So yeah, so I'm going to definitely work to get the originals, because they are available for people to buy and everything. So I am going to leave it here. Sorry about boring you guys with it. I should have realized I could have just easily done it that way. But yeah. So anyways, that's my video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.